is. King of Kings, we kneel before you, Father, appealing, asking for peace in the rest of the country. Lord of Lords, we kneel before you, Father, appealing, asking for peace in the rest of the country. Our Father, we are asking for peace in the world. Our Father, we are asking for peace in the world. Our Father, we are asking for peace in the world. Our Father, we are asking for peace in the world. Reveal yourself, reveal yourself. Reveal yourself, reveal yourself. Reveal yourself, reveal from heaven. Because we are directing to you, Almighty. We are directing to you, forever Almighty. The sun rise and set, rise and set.
So this, I had no idea anything like this could be built.
Yeah, well, the idea was to do something fairly impressive. This is a kind of sacrifice to Phoebus, the sun god.
Has Richard done this before? This sort
Well,
of thing?
he's done a simpler, smaller one, which came to an end when the tide swept it away. But in this case, we're above the tide line, so this won't be swept away. I think it'll survive today, and we'll have another bonfire tomorrow with any luck. That's what those teepee-shaped things are. That's firewood.
So that's what's supposed to burn.
That's what's going to burn. It's arranged that way because that facilitates burning.
And what is that sand there that's holding it together?
Well, it's a layer, you know, that obviously the supporting structure is wood, and then we laid a layer of seaweed, wet seaweed, on top of the wood, and then on top of the seaweed we put sand. So that's probably not going to allow the heat to penetrate to the underlying structure, so I think the underlying support will be protected. And these pillars all go a foot or two into the ground. Not all, most of them.
What time did you start doing it?
We started around 11, so now it's 5, so it's been an all-day project. It's kind of a guy bonding thing. A little beer, a little sand, a little sweat, and a monument.
Because we are directing to you forever, Almighty. Because we are directing to you, Almighty. Ta-na-na-na, 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 ta-na-na-na. Ngizobambelela kusona, ngizobambelela wona isiphambano ngizenzele bambelela kusona mina ngizobambelela wona isiphambano ngizenzele dala nami kusami ngizobambelela wona isiphambano
Richard is kind of detail-oriented.
Richard, is this your design?
Well, you know, it was a collaborative effort.
But
we established a motif and then we worked it together.
surely you must have had the vision. The
Well,
initial
no,
vision.
you know, my vision was cool fire on beach. That was my vision. You know, and then it was the collective creativity of this extraordinary team. I couldn't have done it without the
It actually was
team.
collective, literally collective, right?
It was quite
Because
collective.
each person contributed one
That's right.
characteristic or another.
That's right.
Peter's idea to make it a stair.
Most important thing, we're pleased with the result.
Are you exhausted?
You know, it's the exhaustion of having felt like you've really moved the greater good forward. You know, like civilization has taken maybe a modest step, maybe a tiny step, maybe a baby step
Backward.
but civilization took a step. That we can agree on. Civilization took a step, and we were part of it. And that, you know, no matter how exhausting, no matter how much effort you put into it, you know, rack your bones till they're about to break. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You know, in the grand scheme of things,
And have you ever built such a magnificent structure as this before?
well, you know, out here in the grand wonders of nature, I don't know. I kind of, you know, I'm sorry, I choke up a little bit, but you know, it's like every time it's special. It's just special.
And how many times have you done this sort of thing before?
You know, at this point, more times than I can remember. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can talk. I just get really emotional about it. I think
Tell me, the seaweed, what use did you make of the seaweed?
Well, the ropey parts were used to tie the corners of the structure together, so that it just, you know, basically so that the pillars don't tend to want to slide out or collapse. And then the leafy part of the seaweed, which is, we used wet seaweed, was spread on top of the wooden beds, and then that was to keep, basically to keep the sand from falling out between the wood, between the pieces of wood that formed support for the fire. And then once there was a bed of seaweed, we then put sand on top of that. And the sand acts as an insulator, and oh shit!
What?
Oh, it looks like one of our pieces fell off there. It insulates the underlying wooden structure from the fire, so that you don't ignite the whole thing. In fact, between the sand and the seaweed, I doubt that the wood underneath see a temperature rising more than 10 or 20 degrees. This is just site cleanup to emphasize the aesthetic unity of the project. Richard's adding little, you can see he's tying, remember that was the piece of wood that just dropped off, so he's tying it better so that it doesn't become loose.
How long, baby? How long should I wait for you? How long, baby? How long, baby? How long, baby? How long, baby? How long should I wait for you? How long, baby? Say. How long, baby? How long, baby? How long, baby? How long should I wait for you?
Oh, number one is ready, go. Number two is ready, go. Number three is ready, go. How long should I wait for you? Oh, number one is ready, go. Number two is ready, go. Women's really calling. How long should I wait for you? Please, you stay away from me. I don't know why. I don't know why you stay away from me. Stay away from me. Oh, please, you stay away from me. You stay away from me. I don't know why. I don't know why you stay away from me. Stay away from me. Oh, mommy, mommy, you keep on worrying. You keep on worrying me. I don't know why. I don't know why you keep on worrying. Keep on worrying. Oh, mommy, mommy, you keep on worrying. You keep on worrying me. I don't know why. I don't know why you keep on worrying. Keep on worrying. Oh, please, you stay away from me. I don't know why you stay away from me. Stay away from me. Oh, mommy, please, you stay away from me. You stay away from me. I don't know why. I don't know why you stay away from me. Stay away from me. Oh, mommy, mommy, you keep on worrying me. I don't know why you keep on worrying me. Keep on worrying me. Oh, blues, you stay away from me. I don't know why you stay away from me. Stay away from me.
Carl, were you expecting to be building something so grand as this?
Well, we talked about it for a couple of days and sort of got ourselves motivated. And there was a question that some people were thinking we should just go to town. You know, that it would be fun to just go to town and go to the farmer's market and have lunch and then just have a fire on the beach. But Richard said, no, I don't leave the beach. And that convinced us that we were obligated to be caught up in his bizarre lifestyle.
I mean, when Richard said we'd make it 8 feet high, it was apparent that it was going to be something pretty imposing. That should get the gods down here.
Yapela pansi yaze yakholwa izinyembezi izinyembezi nomathemba angishiya zela ngedwa nomathemba angishiya zela ngedwa nomathemba
Bonzo has the song When the Sun
Semnambiti nomathemba azabhala nencwadi amo semnambiti amo nomathemba kodwa yena saxabana amo semnambiti